Welcome to the Press Box. I'm Ryan Thorburn, joined by Steve Mims. We're getting ready for Oregon's home game against Utah on Saturday. Steve, these teams are both 0-3 in October. Somebody has to win. Oregon probably won't have Justin Herbert. Can they win a game without their star quarterback?
Well, I think we felt like, a couple weeks ago, well, you still had Arizona and Oregon State at the end of the road. They could be your 2 wins to get you to 6. All of a sudden, you might put Utah as, in a game that looks as similar to those two, the way that Arizona's playing better and Oregon State's playing better now. So I think this game becomes pretty important. Utah suddenly, was top 25. Now they've dropped a few in a row. I think this would be a nice one for Oregon to get, especially if Herbert doesn't play. I think they need some confidence that they can win this thing without him. I mean, the longer you go without him, it feels like you just, you're fighting uphill until you get him back. I think they need something like this for everybody else to feel like they've kind of could beat a team, a middle-of-the-road Pac-12 team, even without their starting quarterback.
Yeah, I think it's a mistake to just wait for Justin to get back and then, we'll win a couple games and get into a bowl. Arizona's looking a lot better with Khalil Tate. Oregon State nearly knocked off Stanford last night. Their interim coach, Corey Hall, really has they're playing with similar enthusiasm to what Willie Taggart had Oregon playing in September. Mm-hmm. So I don't think either one of those is a gimme, and certainly if Justin Herbert isn't back, I have trouble seeing the Ducks not finishing 4-8 again.
Yeah, and 6 wins doesn't guarantee a bowl game this year. There could be 7, 8, 9, 10 Pac-12 teams with that. You might need 7 to move up to at least get in, one of those West Coast bowls that Pac-12 has a tie in. I mean, if you at 6, you might get in the heart of Dallas or the Armed Forces, but nobody's going to travel from your fan base to there. So I think it's important to get as many wins as you can in that sense, not just to get bowl eligible, but to try to get one of the bowls that can be closer to home.
Obviously, Braxton Burmeister has struggled at quarterback. In fairness to him, he's a true freshman. He probably didn't expect to see the field at all this year. Oregon's problems with quarterback transfers and just not developing quarterbacks after Marcus Mariota is not Burmeister's fault. Yeah. But at the same time, this is his 4th start. He needs to start showing some progress and completing some passes. Is this the wrong defense to try and get right against? Because Utah typically is very physical, very sound.
It could be, but I also think, Charles Nelson's back now. He had 4 catches last week, but he had 1 the week before. Breland, I think, had 1 catch last week. We just, there's some guys that you can find over the middle, some short stuff, throw kind of some stuff to some screens and try to get some receivers over there, bunched on the side to block. I just think there's some things you can do to try to get a little bit more volume in the receptions. And even if you're throwing them over the middle and getting them for 5, 6 yards, not piling up a bunch of numbers, one of those could break, or if nothing else, you at least make the defense expect it. You might turn back and throw it. So I think the degree of difficulty on the throws doesn't go up, but I think you at least try to get him something a little bit more over the middle and short range.
On the other side of the ball, Utah has problems of their own at quarterback, and they like their guys. They're just not producing. I think they have, 8 touchdown passes this season and 9 interceptions. Mm-hmm. But they do have one guy who's going to be interesting to watch, Darren Carrington, coming back to Autzen. He would have been Oregon's number 1 receiver. He's clearly Utah's number 1 weapon on offense.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see. I think he's really kind of fallen off. At the beginning of the year, those first 3 games, he went over 100 every game. It was almost like must-watch, what did Carrington do now? Oh, he had 10 catches in this game. He had 100 yards. He had 3 touchdowns. It's really slowed down. He had 2 catches against USC. I think he had 5 for 60 yards last week when they lost. And Kyle Whittingham said this week he's been banged up a little bit, so he comes back full strength. If he's full strength, he may be the key for Utah. They got to get something going in the passing game. There's no other receiver with half as many catches as he has on the year. I think he needs to have one of those games he had the first few of the season, a 6-catch, 100 yards, and a touchdown or 2 game for Utah to win, because since the production's gone down, they haven't won.
Oregon's defense has played fairly well through this stretch, even though Oregon's losing. I think they kind of ran out of gas against UCLA. It was a hot day. They're on the field most of the game. I expect this to be a low-scoring game. On that side, it'll probably be 40-38, but I expect it to be really low-scoring. I expect both defenses to do, just smother the other team's quarterbacks. Maybe like a 10-7 game, 13-10, something like that. Which brings me to the concern of Aiden Schneider, an All-American guy, seldom used. I mean, I think we forget he missed an easy field goal against UCLA last week.
Yeah, you wonder if kind of the lack of running out there and game opportunities. I think he's had 3 attempts this year. He's 1 from 3. Yeah, you'd worry a little bit now about sending him out there for a pressure kick. He missed one last week. It wasn't a pressure kick. It wasn't going to change the game, but he didn't make that one. He's only made 1 field goal the whole season. You wonder where his psyche's at if he is. He's never been called on to go out and kick a game winner, and it's his 4th year, and I think it's a moment he's wanted. But you'd like to think if you were him, you had a few more warm-up kicks on the season before that.
All right, well, someone has to win. We'll find out who that is on Saturday and talk to you then. Thanks for tuning in.